So about a year ago, I remember hanging out with this girl that I had a huge crush on. And I remember getting pretty clear vibes that she just wasn't interested in me. And it absolutely destroyed me. I went through all of the classical thoughts of like, maybe I'm not enough, maybe there's something wrong with me. All of those things that you're thinking when you're single and driving alone at night. Flash forward to last week, I got rejected by another girl. And it definitely stung when I got rejected. But I remember waking up the next morning and looking in the mirror and just thinking, I'm okay. For one of the first times in my life, I feel like I really know who I am, I know what I value, and I know what I'm worth. So obviously this is going to be a video about self-love, and I feel like the best place to start is with what I don't think self-love is. Self-love is not like this random stuff I see on Instagram. It is not face masks, bubble baths, and a movie. Those are great things and they can help you if you're feeling down, but they don't change how you fundamentally view yourself and they don't make you like yourself anymore. Self-love for me encompasses two different things. One is liking yourself and being proud of yourself. In my mind, those are really similar things. And two is having self-compassion. So let's start with how to like yourself more, and obviously that is way easier said than done. Like if you already really like yourself, you probably would not be watching this video right now. So last year, I read this book called The 6 Pillars of Self-Esteem, and in it, there's this quote that has really transformed the way I view self-esteem and confidence and just liking yourself in general. A disservice is done to people if they are offered feel-good notions of self-esteem that divorce it from questions of consciousness, responsibility, and moral choice. If you're looking for a deep dive into like what self-esteem is and how to build it, I think it's a really great book to read. The path towards liking yourself is not filled with feel-good Instagram posts or stories. It's the path of responsibility and living up to the standards that you've set for yourself. If you want to like yourself, you have to make decisions that at the end of the day, when you're looking in the mirror, you're proud of the person that you see in the mirror. And there's a certain level of accountability and responsibility in that. And so what type of decisions are these? Normally, these are decisions that are aligned with your values or things that you think are morally correct. This isn't easy because it takes knowing what you want, what you think is right or wrong, and what you value. But once you have those things figured out, you have to live by them. And then you will really start to like yourself. The easiest example of this is going to the gym and getting into better shape. On the surface, that may seem like really shallow confidence just based off of what you look like. But a gym transformation is a lot more than just getting into better shape. Going to the gym and getting in better shape takes effort and sacrifice. It takes specific dieting, which means you probably can't eat the foods that you're used to eating or the foods that you really want to. And it means you actually have to get up and go to the gym, which is always harder than doing nothing. And it's not instantaneous. You have to stick with it. You have to be disciplined. But over time, you will look at the person you see in the mirror and you will feel pride because you valued something and you stuck with it. You made sacrifices and you saw through to it. How can you not like yourself after that? So a week before I got rejected, I had to make one of these hard value aligning decisions. I'd been planning for months to go to my first EDM festival called Chasing Summer in Calgary. I had planned to go with a couple really close friends, so I knew that it was going to be an amazing time. And about a week before the festival, I started getting a sore throat and a cough and a runny nose. And I needed to decide whether or not I wanted to get tested for COVID. No one was going to force me or even ask me to get tested. And I knew if I actually did have COVID, there was zero chance that anyone would be able to trace it back to me. And I've been looking forward to this thing for months, and I wanted to go so badly, and the thought of potentially missing it because of COVID ate me alive. If I didn't get tested, I would always have plausible deniability of having COVID, but if I did get tested and I tested positive, there is no way that I would be able to go to the festival. In the end, I decided to get tested, and the morning before the festival, I tested negative. Maybe I'm just way more selfish than everyone else, or maybe you're all just saints, but for me, that was like a really hard decision to make. Like I definitely was very, very tempted to not get tested because I had no external pressures forcing me to get tested. The only reason that I would get tested was for my own conscience. The only person who would know that I never got tested was me. And I know it's easy for me to say now because I know I've already tested negative, but it's making those decisions where you know you should do something, but you really don't want to and no one else is watching you that really colors the way that you view yourself. If I had tested positive for COVID, I would have missed chasing. I would have been unbelievably mad at the world and frustrated and felt a lot of FOMO. But I also know that even if I had missed chasing, at the end of the day, when I had looked at myself in the mirror, I would have been really proud of myself and I would have liked who I was. I chose myself and what I valued over partying and having fun. And instinctively, you may be thinking, wait a minute, Alex, I thought self-love was supposed to be this unconditional, easy thing that makes me feel like I'm walking on rainbows 24/7. I hear that some people can do that even if they provide zero value to the world or to themselves, they can still love themselves, but that advice has never worked for me. That is some mystical level of self-love, and honestly, I don't even know if that's desirable. Like anything else, self-love becomes more valuable and you appreciate it more if it's something that you have to work at. Like, it's not supposed to be easy. Like, you want it to take effort and responsibility and moral decision making. Because the type of people who love themselves no matter what they do with no regard for how their actions impact themselves or others are normally assholes. The second thing you need is self-compassion, because there will be days where you cannot live up to the standards that you set for yourself. and you will mess up. Compassion is recognizing someone else's suffering and feeling sympathy for their pain. Self-compassion then is recognizing the ways in which you suffer and feeling sympathy for yourself. When we make mistakes or do bad things, it's probably not because we're inherently bad people. It's because we're human and we have to balance a bunch of different things, and sometimes we fail to live up to the person that we wish we were. But that doesn't mean anything about who we are as people, and it definitely doesn't mean that we aren't deserving of love. This is really important because you are guaranteed to mess up and make mistakes. Something that really helped me build self-compassion is trying to be unconditionally compassionate towards everyone. I have reached the opinion that there are no good or bad people. Everyone is just trying their best to make their way in the world and to live the best life that they can. And sometimes along the way, because we're human, we make mistakes. And I always try to give people the benefit of the doubt. Because once you can learn to see other people as really gray and complex and fallible and still worth loving, then you can start to do the same for yourself. Own up to your mistakes, acknowledge that you've made them, but don't judge yourself too harshly for them. Have sympathy for your own struggles. Maybe this is where the face masks and the bubble baths come in. You can't always be living up to your highest values all the time because you're not a freaking robot. You need to understand that sometimes you just don't have it in you, or maybe you've been working too hard, and that's okay. You can take breaks and you can fall a little bit short sometimes. These two parts of self-love end up balancing each other out. Like, you could end up holding yourself to such a strict standard that you end up disliking yourself even more. And that's where self-compassion comes in, because you have to recognize that you're not perfect and you're never going to be. In the same way, the responsibility that we end up taking for our own lives ensures that we never end up wallowing in our own self-pity or adopt the victim mentality. So now we've talked a lot about self-love in a vacuum, how one person can learn to love themselves, but we don't live in a vacuum. We live in a society. I wanted to talk about how other people can help us on our self-love journey, because when I was younger, I was definitely of the opinion that you need to know how to love yourself before you can love others, and I just don't think that's true. And looking back, that was probably an excuse to hide the fact that your boy was not pooling. We are not islands that can exist independently of other people. Growing up, our parents teach us what love is, and our understanding of it is constantly shaped and reshaped by the people we choose to love and the people we let love us. To be clear, this extends far past romantic relationships into platonic and familial and all other types of relationships that you have. I have plenty of super insecure days where I feel like I'm worth nothing. And on those worst days, I think about the people that I absolutely love. And knowing that these people who I love, respect, and admire so much love me back is one of the best self-defenses against self-doubt that I've ever encountered. I have been so blessed in my life to have found so many great people that love me, and their support and care has shaped how I view myself. I used to have this fear that relying on other people too much or letting other people love me would make me weaker or codependent. But something I learned recently from an anime, shout out to Fruits Basket, was that there's nothing wrong with accepting love from other people. What really matters is what you do after you've been given that love. You can't just sit in that warm feeling, or else you will grow dependent on it. You need to take what you've been given and use it to move forward and better yourself and the people around you. And in turn, nothing shows you how much you're worth more than helping another person. So I work at the Bridge Peer Counseling Center at Stanford, and nothing makes me feel better than when at the end of a counsel session, people say, "Thank you so much. I am so grateful that you took the time to listen to me, and I feel a lot better." Like, that absolutely makes my day. And just knowing that I can make someone else's day better makes me feel better about myself. So let yourself be loved and take the love that you receive and give it to others. All of that being said, self-love is not like this invulnerable thing, but it is like this cushion that absorbs the impact of most of the negative feelings that you have. Like, in the last week alone, I've had plenty of moments of insecurity and doubt. I make plenty of mistakes that can hurt my friends or myself. Sometimes I can be really impatient and snap at the people I love. I'm sorry, Mom. I can be pretty self-obsessed. I mean, I have a YouTube channel that has to say something about how self-obsessed I am. I can also be selfish, judgmental, very argumentative, and get rejected by plenty of girls. And at the same time, I can still love myself.